This is course number 3. Welcome to course number 3 on mandatory reporting. This is for the KidsSafe training seminar. So mandatory reporting. As of January 1st, 2015, anyone 18 and over with regular ongoing contact that is integral to a volunteer's responsibilities is responsible for the welfare of a child, having direct contact with the child, acting in lieu of or on behalf of a parent. So basically, what this is saying is when a child is dropped off in one of our ministries, brought to the children's room, brought to youth group, you as a leader, volunteer, are taking the place and the responsibility of the parent or guardian. So now you have a great responsibility, and by our law, you are considered a mandatory reporter. So we will talk about when and how to make a report. But this is a great responsibility. We come and we want to be humble in this and not take it for granted. We want to be careful. We want to be sensitive, take responsibility of these things because it is law. So reporting your concerns is not making an accusation. Rather, it's a request for an investigation and assessment to determine if help is needed. We do not ever need to take the role of an investigator. We can let the authorities investigate. However, let's talk about when to make a report. As a mandatory reporter, we are required by law to report if you have, these are the key words and key phrase, reasonable cause to suspect, reasonable suspicion. So the reasonable cause to suspect that a child is a victim of child abuse. This is when we make the phone call. This is when we can go online and fill out the form to have the report made. If we have reasonable cause to suspect that a child is a victim of child abuse. Okay, we might not know for sure. If a child comes and talks to us about something and tells us a story, it's not our job to then go and contact the person that could be considered the abuser and find out the truth. We are not going to go and ask the child to reveal things on them to find out more about that. We are not the investigators. Okay, there's other people that's their job and that's their responsibility to investigate. Reasonable suspicion includes, but is not limited to, knowledge of circumstances, observations, familiarity with individuals, feeling about an incident. So, you do not need direct contact with the abuser or abused to make a report. If you hear something, someone comes and tells you about something, we don't need to know all of the details, but if there is reasonable cause to suspect that a child is a victim of child abuse, we need to do something about it. We have a great responsibility to keep kids safe, to help protect them from it happening again. Many times for our reporting, we are reporting an incident that has already occurred. However, it's our job to do that so that it doesn't continue to happen, and justice can be done if there's something that needs to be done. Now, there can be a responsibility for reporting, and when we think about, oh, I don't want to offend someone, or we think about, wow, would they really do this? And we find out it's somebody that we might know or we don't know, but we feel like intimidated to actually make the report. I want you to know that there is actually a penalty by law if we do not make the report when it should have been made. So we need to make the report. When in doubt, make the report. If you have any questions about that, you can please contact me. You can write me an email. You can contact me. My email is jmichalak@riverstone.church. You can call me. We can talk about it, but you'll be the one to make the report, and I can help you through it. So when in doubt, if you really have a feeling and you heard something, you have reasonable cause to suspect, you make the report. Because there's a lot worse things that could happen if we don't make the report when we should be making the report. Okay. So if a minor directly reports abuse to you, make it clear that we cannot keep it confidential. Okay. When we talk about ministry, we don't tell people, hey, whatever you say here will never be shared with anyone else. It stays here with me forever. Right? That's not helpful. That's not helpful to the child. But what we say is, if someone's telling us something, we can make it clear that I'm going to get you the help that is needed, right? So when we make a report, all reports are kept confidential, but not anonymous, because it's important that when we talk about the report, we know who's responsible. We will need to get as much of the information that we have so that we can pass it on to the people who can make that investigation and find out the truth. So here's something that we do when to make a report. If you are a first-hand witness of someone abusing a minor, if you are in ministry or doing something at any point, you see something happen, you see someone abusing a child, you need to make a report. Okay. Another way or reason why we would need to make a report is if a minor comes to you, directly reports abuse to you. A child might come to you and say, there's a story. Hey, so-and-so did this to me last night, or this happened to me last year, so-and-so, blah, 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 and talks about them hitting, yelling and screaming. Maybe they kept needs from them that are needs that would be under neglect. So you find this out, you need to make the report. Another reason is if you see physical evidence of abuse. You might see a child that has a big black eye, there's scratches all over their neck, right? You can tell that this is out of the ordinary type of physical evidence. We're not just talking about a little scrape on their knee, especially if they're a toddler that is learning how to walk. There's going to be scrapes, there's going to be little bits of bruises here and there. But if you see things like big gashes, big wounds on their arms, maybe even you could sometimes even unfortunately see a bruising pattern that would show a hand or a foot, and maybe scratches on certain places that would reveal physical evidence of abuse. Okay, you need to make a report. Lastly, if someone 14 or older discloses that they have abused a minor, that also needs to be reported. How to make a report? We need to make an immediate and direct report to the child hotline. There's a phone number to call, 1-800-932-0313. I would advise you and encourage you to actually put this phone number in your phone so that you have it when or if you need to ever make that report. There's also a website you can go to. Again, you can contact myself, you can contact Janet Miller, you can contact Aaron Smith. Janet Miller is our Director of Children and Family Ministries. Aaron Smith is our Associate Director of Children and Family Ministries. And I, Jeremy Micklack, am the Pastor of Youth and Family Ministries at Riverstone Church. So you can contact any three of us if you have any questions about reporting. So make sure that you're contacting the right person. And you can also let us know, because we'll make documentation of that for the office and make sure that the child is getting the help that they need so that we can follow up with any families that might need counseling or any kind of things like that. We want to make sure that not only is the child safe, but the family is getting the help that they need, and anybody else that is in that party of being a victim of child abuse. And we also want to make sure that the right things are being done to help bring justice. And so we want to be careful and remember that we are mandatory order. So, with all that being said, I know that might feel weighty, a great burden, knowing that you have that great responsibility, but there's things in place that will help us. If you have questions, if you have uneasy feelings about something that was shared with you, please talk to one of us and we will help you and we'll walk you through what needs to be done. But ultimately, if there's one of those situations that happen, if you see something, if you see abuse happening, it needs to be reported. If a child talks to you about something specifically, it needs to be reported. And please let us know too, so that we can help you, help the child, and keep everyone safe. So that concludes our session, our course on mandatory reporters.